Okay, you all, I'm feeling good enough to go back to the American Dream. So what happened to the American Dream? We're going to go to the evidence file. There's 3 specific names I'm going to be naming in this video, okay? We have the timeline, we have the subject profiles, documented evidence, and source data companion reference for my episode 3 script. I call it a script, but it's actually like an HTML doc that I made on this. So, all my sources come from public record, federal archives. I have 5 documented decisions I'm going to cover. And all findings, like I said, are sourced to public record. Every claim you can easily verify, search it yourself, fact check. I always encourage you to. But let's go to the master timeline, shall we, with what happened in the American Dream. Okay? So, 5 decisions, 5 names documented from the span of 1970 to 2010. So we're going to go to September 13th, 1970. Milton Friedman, The Doctorate. Okay, it was a published essay in the New York Times Magazine. The social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. Argued that corporations owe loyalty only to shareholders and not workers. Not communities, not the country, okay? Only to shareholders. The impact was CEO to worker pay ratio 20 times in 1965 to 350 times by 2020. Defined benefit, pensions eliminated, stock buybacks normalized, $1 trillion in buybacks in 2018 alone. In August 23, 1971, we had the Lewis Powell, the memo, which I highly suggest you read it if you have not. It wrote confidential 8-page memo to U.S. Chamber of Commerce titled Attack on American Free Enterprise System. It outlined coordinated corporate strategy to take over universities, media, think tanks, courts, and Congress itself. Impact to corporate lobbying offices in D.C., and you can kind of see my little arrows and how it all worked. We're going to go more into detail, don't worry. Then in October 1971, 2 months later, we had the Nixon nominates Powell to the Supreme Court. So the memo was never disclosed to the Senate during Powell's confirmation hearings, by the way. So he served 16 years and wrote opinions that directly laid groundwork for Citizens United, which we'll get into. Okay, even if it's not in this episode, it'll be further down. These names, I'm just naming them, going into the history, and then we will continue on in later episodes. But this will have to be in parts. If you're on YouTube, it'll be one full video. If you're on TikTok, it'll be in 3-minute increments about. So, without further ado, I'll get into the rest of it here in a minute. And we're back. So, back down to 1972, the Business Roundtable, the organization. CEOs of America's largest corporations form coordinated lobbying organizations. Okay, founding members are GE, Alcoa, Xeon, I think is how you say that, General Motors, U.S. Steel, all the big names we currently see. They explicitly created to influence federal policy in favor of corporations. The impact was top corporate tax rate, 52% in 1952, down to 21% in 2018. Labor Law Reform Act killed in 1978, despite passing the House, okay? So union membership declined in direct correlation to the 1972 Business Roundtable. Now, on August 3rd, 1981, Reagan fires PATCO, the Signal. So President Reagan fired all 13K striking air traffic controllers. I think I went over this in the last video. Banned them from federal service for life. Ordered military to keep planes flying. Legal, but the message to every corporation in America is very clear. The impact was union membership, 35% in 1954, down to 20% in 1981, down to 10% today. Last time I checked when I made this HTML script a few weeks ago. Bottom 90% wage growth, 26% over 40 years, while productivity grew 60+%. The gap between those two numbers is documented heavily. Okay? And then you have January 21st, 2010, which is Citizens United v. FEC, the ruling. So 5 Supreme Court justices ruled corporations have First Amendment rights to spend unlimited money on political campaigns, which was built directly on Powell's 1978 Bellatoy opinion, and it was funded by dark money nonprofit, executed exactly as Powell described in the 1971. The impact was outside political spending was $338 million in 2008, $1 billion plus in 2012, $3 billion plus in 2020. Princeton Northwestern research, average voters have little or no independent influence on policy anymore. So this is the entire timeline. And I'll get into the next section here in the next part of the video. But yeah, so this is kind of like the overview timeline, so don't take notes quite yet, but just know this is what we're talking about today. And I have a dog who sees a squirrel. This is Winter in my backseat, by the way. But yes, we're going to get into it. What do you guys think so far? Do you guys think this is the reason the American dream disappeared? I'm going to give evidence to back it up, but this is what I found in my deep dive research. So I hope you guys appreciate my detective skills in uncovering all of these public and archived documents. Okay, back at it. Subject profiles. We're going to go with Milton Friedman. Key document is September 1970. So Milton Friedman, he's an economist, University of Chicago, Nobel Prize in 1976. Generally, he was a brilliant economist. His ideas were not stupid, but one specific idea published in 1970 provided the intellectual cover that gave corporations academic pressure to prioritize profit over every other obligation, and it spread through every business school and boardroom in the next 5 decades. And he was the shareholder primary doctrine. That's what I kind of labeled him as. Those are some of the key dates in his college. So what changed before and after? So before him, corporations broadly accepted responsibility to workers, communities, and shareholders simultaneously, right? Pensions were standard. Investment in infrastructure and training was very normal. After him, one obligation remained: profit to shareholders. Everything else became negotiable: wages, benefits, pensions, and the communities. And pensions, defined benefit pensions eliminated across corporate America very quickly after this. They replaced them with 401k plans, shifting all market risk onto the workers. And buybacks, $806 billion in S&P 500 stock buybacks in 2018 alone. Money that did not go to wages, infrastructure, training, or even the communities. So 1965 talked about this in the overview, 20 times the CEO versus average worker pay. Now it's 350 times as of 2020. Corporate buybacks in 2018 alone are $1 trillion, and there's going to be a lot of billions and trillions, just FYI. And it's 54 years this doctrine has shaped corporate behavior, for 54 years, okay? Then we get into Lewis Powell, right? August 1971, that key document. He was a corporate lawyer, then Supreme Court Justice, 1972 through 1987. So, former president of the American Bar Association, the most powerful lawyers organization in the country, okay? He sat on the boards of 11 corporations, including Philip Morris, the tobacco company that spent decades hiding evidence cigarettes cause cancer. 2 months after writing a confidential corporate strategy memo, Nixon nominated him to the Supreme Court without disclosing that memo to anybody in the Senate. You cannot have the squirrel. So, American Bar Association president, he was on the Philip Morris board, 11 corporate boards in total. Nixon appointee 1971, SCOTUS from 1972 to 1987, and Bellatoe 1978. Next part of the video, we are going to get into the 5-point corporate strategy directly from this document. And we're back. So, for one, universities fund scholars who defend corporate interest. Control what ideas are taught to the next generation is in this memo. So that's number one. Number two is media. Monitor television and newspapers. Push back against anything critical of corporations. Fund friendly voices only. Number three is think tanks. Create organizations that appear to be independent experts but are funded by corporations. Shape public opinion through them. Number four is courts. Fund legal organizations to fight cases all the way to the Supreme Court to change laws in favor of corporations. And number five from this memo is politics. Get business organized and into politics in a way it never had been before. What followed the memo document? In 1971, 176 companies. 1980, 9,000 lobbyists. So, just to kind of give you a little bit of overview. Now, think tanks founded directly after this memo. 1973, the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation, founded 2 years after this memo. Presented on television as independent experts. 1977, the Cato Institute founded. Same framing, independent, same funding, corporate. Okay, and then post-71, American Enterprise Institute dramatically expanded. All three are regularly cited as neutral sources in mainstream media. You cannot eat the squirrel. How many times do I have to tell you that? Sorry. Anyways, the full circle Powell, the Citizens United. So Powell wrote the memo in 1971 outlining a plan to take over the courts through funded legal organizations. This was all planned, you guys. In 1978, as a Supreme Court justice, he wrote the Bellatoe opinion giving corporations First Amendment political spending rights. In 2010, Citizens United, brought by a dark money conservative nonprofit, argued before justices shaped by decades of conservative legal movement built directly on that opinion, by the way. The man who wrote the strategy also executed part of it from the bench. And there's my source for that. Next part of the videos, we're going to get into the business roundtable, because this is another subject profile. If you can't tell, I kind of doing this like a crime scene board, but an HTML document. And I am trying to make a real life crime scene board, but my car accident kind of took that out. A reckless dump truck driver came at me head on, sped up. They asked me, he's going over 70 miles an hour, back from the crash scene analysis, and plowed multiple deer into my car and left me at the scene. Luckily, I missed him by a centimeter, but that's why this video was so delayed in the podcast. But just know I am here, I'm good to go, and we're going to get through this video, and we're going to name the names on what wrecked America. And we're back. So subject profile number 3 is the Business Roundtable, founded in 1972. Founding members are right here for you to see. Those are the names. And they shouldn't be a surprise, because we see them at a lot of meetings with the White House, don't we? So 52% top corporate tax rate in 1952, down to 21% top corporate tax rate in 2018. 5 decades of coordinated lobbying for this. So the 1978 Labor Law Reform Act documented kill, okay? This is where it got killed. So the Labor Law Reform Act would have made it significantly easier for workers to form unions, right? It had passed the House. It had majority support in the Senate, you guys. The Business Roundtable coordinated an unprecedented lobbying campaign. Hundreds of corporate executives personally visited the senators, okay? The bill was killed because of it. Union membership began declining almost immediately. Wages for working people began stagnating almost immediately. This is where our wages stagnated, you guys. I'm giving you the names, okay? I am literally jeopardizing my own life by doing this, because we all know what big, powerful corporations and businesses do. This is me telling you I have no plans of harming myself, because I am actually worried. I will not lie to you, because these are big names. I am naming it in order, and please blow these videos up at the very least. Please. Don't let me do this for nothing. But this is where it's coming from. And now we're going to go into the Reagan fires, okay? As I talk about the air traffic controllers, August 3rd, 1981. Let's get into this next. The facts of what actually happened. Who? Professional Air Traffic Controller Organization, the PATCO, 13,000 skilled workers who guide planes through American airspace daily. Why? Because they were striking for better pay, which they should. That's their right. Better working conditions and shorter hours. Legal? Federal employees are prohibited from striking. That is true. It should be their right, but it's not. Reagan had the legal authority on this, you guys. This is not about legality. It's more about what the decision signaled. The action was that Reagan fired all of them, banned them from federal service for life, ordered military to keep planes flying during replacement training. And the message was every CEO in America received the same signal at once from Reagan. Unions can be broken without political consequence. Workers can be replaced. You are replaceable in the workforce. That is what this told. So as we went over it, in 1954, 35% membership, 20% in 1981 with the firing. Today it's 10%, 26% total wage growth, bottom 90% over 40 years, and 60% plus productivity growth, same period. There's my sources. Next part of the video, we're going to get into Citizens United versus FEC. We're back. So January 21st, 2010. Okay, Citizens United v. FEC. The 5 justices named and on public record. John Roberts, Chief Justice. Antonin Scalia, Associate Justice. Anthony Kennedy, Associate Justice, wrote majority opinion. Clarence Thomas, Associate Justice. And Samuel Alito, Associate Justice. I'm so sorry if my tongue tie is slaughtering these names, but at this point, it's their fault. I don't care. Before and after, what's documented? So before, corporations prohibited from unlimited political spending, hard limits on campaign contributions existed to protect the principle of equal democratic influence. The ruling, corporations have First Amendment free speech rights. Spending money is speech. Limiting corporate political spending violates those rights. After, super PACs, PACs as we call them, created unlimited corporate spending on elections as long as no direct campaign coordination. The ceiling was removed entirely. I don't know why that coded weird. I'm so sorry. Anyways, $338 million outside political spending in 2008. Pre-ruling, outside political spending 2012, $1 billion plus. Outside political spending 2020, $3 billion plus. And 1,779 policies issued, analyzed in Princeton Northwestern study. So the peer-reviewed research that you can find right now is the Gleans and Page from 2014, Testing Theories of American Politics. Cambridge University Press analyzed around roughly that many policy issues, as I mentioned. The finding was economic elites and organized business interests have substantial independent impact on government policy. Average citizens have little or no independent influence. Okay, that is their exact language there. Published, peer-reviewed, available to you, to me, to anyone who wants to search for it. Okay? Next part of the video is going to be going into 5 names, 5 decisions, all public record, the complete record on all of this. Let's go. Okay. So, again, it coded weird. I don't know why. So, date 1913. What am I saying? It's one of those days. September 13th, 1970, Milton Friedman, essay, corporations owe loyalty only to shareholders. Documented impact was the CEO-worker pay ratio. We got August 23rd, 1971, Lewis Powell. He wrote the confidential memo, corporate takeover institutions. The impact was DC lobbying offices. Okay, and the Heritage Foundation, Cato, all of those followed. 1972, Business Roundtable. CEOs organized coordinated corporate lobbying, and that lowered the corporate tax. August 3rd, 1981, Ronald Reagan, he fired 13,000 government workers, and that had an immediate impact on declining union membership. January 21st, 2010, all of that, with Robert, Scalia, Kennedy, Thomas, Alito, Citizens United, unlimited corporate political spending, and the spending went from millions to billions. Okay? And that connects all of this directly to today's headlines. Here are all my sources for this video. If you are listening to the podcast, feel free to hop over to my YouTube or even one of my TikToks, and you can see my sources I used. But yeah. So, I don't know where I'm going with the next episode on this. If you guys have a direction you would like me to go, let me know. I am all ears, willing to do what you guys would like me to do. But these other names, please blow this video up because, like I said, it directly correlates to today and is still happening today. Anyways, see you guys.